Hello, hope you're having a great day. In this video I'm going to take off my throttle body there, and thought I would make a video so you guys can see how I'm doing it. Gotta go grab my tools still, but basically what I'm going to do is disconnect this hose, remove this clamp, this, and then I'll remove this hose, this clamp, and that, and it'll kind of depend on how this fights me. And actually I'm going to move this out of the way. Probably what I'll do is just remove that bolt there and swing this out of the way. That'll get more clearance from there. And then the recap on this, I'll remove the hoses. Luckily, if you notice over here, the hoses, there's 4 of them. It just goes like these. They're just going a line from here to here, so it's pretty easy to hook those back up. Remove this top hose, this coolant line, or I'm sorry, that's another vacuum hose, this connector, and then there's 2 coolant line hoses that run to the idle air control valve that you can't really see very good down there. There's one, and the other one I don't see very well. I think it goes up. I'm not seeing it, but it's down there, trust me. I can see the top one. Anyhow, we'll figure that out when it comes. So let me go get my tools and we'll be right back. Alright, let's see how far we get doing this one hand. The first thing I always like to do is remove my ground cable. That way I don't have any electrical issues going on there. And I think what I'll do is I'll take this hose off first, left-handed. Let's see here. There we go. And try to do the same. I should have held the camera with my left hand. Alright, just side that up. These handy pliers. And kind of give it a twist and you hear it break free. I like to spray some silicone lube in here when I put these together. Helps them come apart easier when you need to. Take that off. Your engine bay is not a parts bay, so I try to get in the habit of not putting my parts in the engine bay, although I do have my magnetic tray. But alright, so next I think I'll take this piece off here. Just going to use I'm going to switch hands here. Sorry, it's kind of hard to, wish I had a cameraman. So let's take this one off next. That's just a 10mm. Also the battery cables, at least on mine, is 10mm. This guy here. Oops, that was, yeah, that's good. And try to, you can hear it broke free when I twisted it. There we go, took that off. And again, we'll set this aside. Okay, I think next, unfortunately wearing gloves, you can't really feel very good, but there's just a tab I'm trying to squeeze right there. There we go. So that took off my electrical cable. That's another reason why it's good to disconnect your batteries to not cause any trouble. Let me see if I can see those. Yeah, so I still don't see it very good. Okay, there's the other coolant line that goes straight up and down. So I'll have to decide whether or not I'm gonna I probably should drain a little bit of coolant. We'll see how it goes. I have another little trick I'll show you along the lines later. So this one usually comes off pretty easy by hand. I like to just twist it out of the way. Same with this one, it's fairly easy. There we go. Clip that down in there. I'll just take these hoses off. And let's see if I can do that there. That worked pretty good. So, a couple other things. Like, I'm gonna need to take this off, and this just pops off. It's just like clipped on. There you go, got it off. Maybe shoot a little WD-40 on that when you go to put it back on. And so I'm gonna have to get this out of the way. And also, basically what's holding this on is there's a bolt here, a nut here, and a bolt down there that you can't really see very good. And let's see what size those are. Yeah, it looks like they're 12mm. So let me pause the camera there and see what I want to do next there. Okay, let's try this one-handed. I think I'm going to take this off next. And I like this wrench because I can kind of move it out of the way. When you're putting these things together, the torques on these are very little. It's like 14 for a lot of this stuff. So all I'm going to do is finish taking that off, and I'll set that aside. Okay, when I remove the bolt, then I remembered it's got a bottom hose, so I just pulled it off and kind of pushed it down, and then I'm just gonna put this. This is why it's nice to keep your engine bay clean. Cleaner you do it, the less dirty you get them. It's pretty good. For when I first started working on this engine, I'd have to wear gloves all the time because I'd get so dirty. I also break. Oh darn! I need an extension on that. Just gonna break those 4 bolts loose. Okay, not rocket science. Just went around with my wrench and put it in here and just broke them all loose. And so those 4 bolts are loose, but they're still in there. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'll use a trick on this. Always have an old spark plug laying around because it's great for plugging hydraulic lines and a lot of these little coolant lines. So I'm not gonna film this, but I'm gonna take my pliers, pull this off, and then put a spark plug in there and put it back on, and that'll stop the coolant from leaking. So I should not have too much after I'm done there. Okay, here's my little trick that I do. When you do this, you want to do the bottom hose first, and that just goes right there onto that deal, because I did the top one first and then realized I didn't have another spark plug. I had to go get one. And even though I pulled this, all the back pressure was causing all the fluid to come out of here. So if you pull that bottom hose off first and plug it, and you just have to shove these in there, make sure they're clean. You can always shoot a little silicone, heavy duty silicone spray on there if you feel if they're too tight. But these just slid right in. Anyways, do the bottom one first and then the top one, and that'll save yourself from losing so much coolant. And just throw a pan down there to catch it. So at this point, everything's pretty much ready to come off. So I'm just gonna take these 4 bolts off, and I'm not gonna make you watch me do this, but I already broke them loose. And because this is a nut, it'll stay on. Anyways, I'm just going to take those 4 bolts and that one nut off and put them in here, and we'll pick it up when I get that done. Okay, I just got them off, put them on my tray, and at this point, because I've had mine off before, I know my gasket is good, and it should be shouldn't stick on there. So you might have some trouble with that sticking, but so I'm just gonna. The only thing kind of holding this on is just the pressure. It's stuck to that paper gasket, and it's kind of resting on that stud that's sticking out there. So just gently take it off, and here I'm ready to go. But what I want to do is save that gasket. Let's see, maybe it feels like something's hanging up. I think it's just hitting. There you go. So that's it. It's off. I'm just gonna set this aside. And at that point, that's how you get one off. Just keep track of your parts and stuff. Anyways, hope all that made sense. If you have any questions, you can always leave a comment down below. And that's all there is to this video to how to take off your throttle body. Anyways, if you like this, give me a thumbs up, and thank you for watching.